Not every Dom is loud, cold, or intense, and thank God for that. Whether you're a Dom who leads with care or a sub who craves that kind of control, this one's for you. I'm Alessandra from Dom Sub Living, and we're flipping the script on what domination looks like. Welcome to the Dom Sub Living podcast. Now, if you're totally new to being a Dom or you're a sub who wants to help their Dom improve, I've got you. You can grab my free How to Be a Good Dom Quick Start Guide, and it will walk you through the steps to take control, build trust, and lead a submissive, whether you're into hard power exchange or soft. So you can download it now at domsubliving.com/dominant. I'll have a link for it in the description too. So first of all, what is gentle domination? Well, gentle domination is exactly what it sounds like. It's dominance that leads with emotional intelligence, safety, softness, and co-regulation. It's not about being passive or permissive like a lot of people think. It's about being steady and present and intentional. It's about the kind of power that doesn't need to shout to be heard. It's the kind of presence that doesn't need to break you to claim you, and the kind of leadership that prioritizes emotional connection alongside structure. You don't have to yell to be in control. You don't have to intimidate to, be obeyed. In fact, some of the most powerful moments I've had in a DS dynamic came from when my Dom had the most quietest whisper voice. So you definitely don't need to shout. I did used to think that my Dom had to bark orders at me and tower over me to make me feel like a submissive. But then he started exploring more of his softer Dom side and really owning it and learning how to control his voice and to speak more intentionally. So he would do things like whisper in my ear and just say, you're mine, and my knees would just like instantly buckle. So I started to see that control doesn't have to involve like super hardcore, harsh punishments. So if you're a sub, have you ever wanted to feel completely safe and completely owned at the same time? Well, stick around because in a minute I will share the exact things that a soft Dom has used on me that just really completely rewired how I saw dominance. But before we move on, so who are soft DOMs and why are they trending? Because they are definitely having a moment. More and more people are just really craving this kind of dynamic, especially younger Kingsters, if I'm honest. A lot of trauma survivors too, and even neurodivergent folks too, who are just really shifting the culture of BDSM. We're seeing a wave of mental health awareness, just self-regulation and deeper emotional connection. And that really means power exchange is evolving too. So, soft domination just really resonates because it mirrors how we want to be seen in the rest of our lives, not just as roles or stereotypes, but as whole people. So something like a Dom giving a forehead kiss after a scene, that maybe would have been unthinkable, 10, 15, 20 years ago when it was more of this hard, cold, impersonal dominance. So if you're the kind of Dom who checks in with your sub before bed and likes to tuck them in, this episode is going to be validation for you. And some of the most meaningful scenes I've ever experienced weren't sexual at all. Maybe my Dom is just holding my face and, telling me I'm safe and that he cares about me. Maybe he's even doing something like brushing my hair. All that can be domination. All that has power. Why do we, in this day and age, still think that control has to feel like fear? Um, But let me be really clear, gentle doesn't mean soft in the sense of lacking, edge. It means that control is layered with care, and not that it has to be, totally without care. But soft DOMs aren't always safe. There's a trap that many fall into, and I'll break that down in just a few moments. But let's go into what gentle domination can look like. So it can be a calm voice that really grounds you instead of scaring you. Rituals like collaring or daily check-ins. Commands are more respectful instead of just barking orders. Discipline is through consistency and not chaos. And aftercare that's really just already built into the dynamic and not really just a forethought. Um, Sometimes even soft dominance is just simply the way that they look at you, the way they remember all your stuffies names, the way they adjust your clothes, or even the way they tie your restraints during a scene. It's just with more care. I know one thing my dom likes to say to me when I mess up sometimes is he says, I'm not going to raise my voice, but I will raise my standard. So, that's a way for a dom to still be in control and to enforce rules, but not have to do it with raising their voice and doing a lot of corporal punishments. So you don't want to mistake softness for weakness in your DS dynamic. But, in just a moment, I'm going to show you how a gentle Dom can still give out punishments and discipline, and how it might be even more effective than traditional hardcore methods. Because just because someone is a soft Dom doesn't mean they don't punish. In fact, soft Doms often use discipline that cuts even deeper because it's intentional, it's personal, and it's calm. Discipline from a soft Dom might look like controlled silence, removing a privilege or a ritual. It's having a calm but serious conversation, maybe even a lecture. It could be delayed gratification. One time I was bratting, like really pushing it, and my Dom, he didn't yell. He actually sat down, looked me in the eye, and said, "Are you finished?" There was no anger, just his authority. And honestly, that wrecked me more than any spanking ever could. There's a kind of power in being able to hold the line without crossing it, to say no without screaming, to correct behavior without shaming them. So, this type of discipline isn't about punishments, it's more about containment. But how do you become a soft Dom, or how do you attract a soft Dom if you're a sub? Well, that's what we're going to talk about now. So, if you're a Dom, learn to regulate your nervous system first. So, speak with clarity, not volume. Make your presence the command. So, study your sub's needs too, not just their reactions. And if you're a sub, say what you need. Let go of the fantasy that domination has to hurt to be real. Um, Reframe what being taken and controlled means to you. Learn how to ask for a structure that nourishes you instead of just punishing you. One thing my dom has been, doing recently is asking me before a scene, do you want comfort or do you want to be challenged tonight? And it just creates space for both of us to really connect and get what we want. But remember, soft domination isn't about doing less, it's about doing more with intention. Because you shouldn't be performing dominance, you should be embodying it. But now let's talk about the common myths and traps about soft dominance. So there's this myth that soft dom equals being a pushover, and Nope, that couldn't be farther from the truth. Soft DOMs still have standards, they still have structure, and they have expectations too. And then there's the trap that a soft DOM can get into where they let the sub take emotional responsibility for everything and just kind of call all the shots too. So again, being a soft DOM doesn't mean being passive. And then there's this other huge mistake of confusing avoidance with softness. So there's a difference between soft and being absent. A soft dom, they lead with gentleness, but they still lead. They're still around. You shouldn't have to take emotional control in a dynamic. A sub shouldn't have to hound their dom and track them down when they are just have emotionally checked out, and now the sub has to take back control. A submissive, shouldn't have to take on that role. So doms don't use the excuse of emotionally just checking out and saying, well, I'm just not that type of dom. You still have to be emotionally available for your sub. But remember, soft doms can be nurturing and firm. They can be tender and still be respected. So the next time someone says soft doms aren't real doms, just smile, because they probably have no idea what real power feels like. But why are we talking so much about soft doms? Well, this isn't just about preference. Gentle domination is changing relationships, it's changing lives. It makes space for healing. It makes room for people who didn't think maybe they belonged in BDSM because they didn't fit the stereotypical roles that there were out there. It really just deepens that connection and consent. Gentle domination really says, I see your whole self, and I choose to lead with care. So again, it doesn't need to break you to own you. It doesn't need to scare you to claim you. Um, a soft dom wants you to surrender and still feel grounded in trust and not in fear. Because what if the future of BDSM isn't about being harder, but being more intentional and in tune? So you're not broken if you want softness, you're not weak if you want to lead gently, and you're not wrong if you crave both power and peace. Soft domination isn't about doing less, it's about doing it with more care. If this all resonated with you, whether you're a soft dom or a sub who wants a soft dom, or you're just still figuring it out, definitely drop a comment and let me know what was your biggest takeaway from this episode. And remember, you can grab my free How to Be a Good Dom quick start guide, and it will walk you through the steps to take control, build trust, and lead a submissive, whether you're into hard power exchange or soft. You can download it at domsubliving.com/dominant, and I'll have a link for it in the description too. But until next time, keep embracing your power and pleasure through Dom Subliving.